Welcome back. It's 11:17 now, and in this week's News to You segment, the Sabres change hands, an American tragedy, and another super heartbreak. Channel 2's Dave Mckinley has our weekly walk back through time when those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week, amidst one of the worst flu seasons in memory, we relayed all the usual advice from doctors. Wash your hands, cough into your sleeve, in an effort to keep the airborne virus at bay. Interestingly, not one of them suggested you wear a mask this week in 2013. 20 years ago this week.
It is with the greatest of regret that today I announce, effective immediately, I am suspending my bid to purchase the Buffalo Sabres.
Thus ending a drama that played out on the news for months regarding Mark Hamister's ill-fated bid to buy the bankrupt franchise. Hamister had the backing of the NHL, organized labor, and local politicians. He just didn't have the money, or at least not enough of his own, as his bid hinged on tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer assistance.
How do you like that?
But there was someone with deeper pockets who didn't need government help to swing the deal. It certainly was not Ron here, but Rochester billionaire Tom Golisano, who bought the team and saved it from leaving, much to the delight of fans. But that same week, we were reminded, as we are from time to time, that life is not all fun and games. This tragic tale began 15 days prior.
Equipment problems forced this mission to be postponed several times from its original launch date last summer. NASA engineers believe Columbia is now safe to fly.
Or so they thought, until upon re-entry and over the skies of Texas.
We lost the data, and that's when we clearly begin to know that we had a bad day.
They will always have an honored place in the memory of this country.
As you will hear much in the coming days, they remain remembered and not forgotten since we lost them this week in 2003. 30 years ago this week, and hoping the third time would be the charm, it seemed everyone was a Bills fan.
Oh, there's Darryl Talley.
Careful, sister, remember your vows. Fans were so crazed for the team's third straight Super Bowl, they'd do anything to win tickets. They'd eat worms, turn themselves into human chicken wings, have themselves cast in cement, or worse. It was so crazy that the Yellow Pages actually printed the listing for Rich Stadium as being the home of the world champion Bills. It was so crazy someone named their horse after Thurman Thomas. It was so crazy the guy who owned the restaurant where Jim Kelly and Frank Reich always met for a hamburger before a home game had their table FedExed to them in Pasadena, where fans full of optimism would head.
Bills 27-20.
Back home, things started out well enough. But as time passed,
Stand up now, come on and shout.
You gotta be kidding!
Oh, come on, Kelly, what are you doing?
Tasker and he fumbles. Not another.
after one of the worst drubbings in Super Bowl history, the same local firm, Trent Manufacturing, which got the contract to produce these just in case, and which you still might find someone wearing in some third world country, then had the inglorious task of printing these instead. And when the most useful of souvenirs you could have gotten was probably this, after another year and another super heartbreak when it was all news to you.
Wow, the 90s fashions. And the fanny packs are back.
I know. I'm exhausted after watching those stories because you put yourself in those places.
Right, and you got to process it, remember what happened.
And that Sunday, reminiscent of Sundays we've had recently, right? For those Bills fans.
Yeah.